No rules for the Cowboys. No expectations now, I should say, for the Cowboys after what happened yesterday. And, Perloff, it's not just about losing to the Commanders and Jerry Jones saying they got embarrassed yesterday, which is all true. It's not just about that. It's been about the last few weeks here for the Cowboys.
Well, okay. Explain.
They haven't been playing well.
Well, okay.
Would you like me to go into more detail?
They haven't been playing well, but make up your mind, Cowboy haters. Is it the team has not been playing well or Dak has not been playing well? Because just 3 weeks ago, I was sitting in the studio and people were throwing these analytics about me, how with Dak Prescott under center, the Cowboys were the best offense in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. And now Dak apparently can't do anything right. So how could it change so quickly?
Because numbers lie. And the Dak Prescott numbers, I think that the interceptions where a lot of them could have been explained away, right? Bad ones against the Jags where they lose in overtime, but we explained a lot of those away. It looked like receivers were dropping passes, other stuff. The problem is they continue to build. So, obviously you haven't addressed the problem because he continues to throw bad picks. I'm not putting it all on Dak Prescott. I'm just saying I was someone who was a massive Cowboys believer, but who's feeling good about the way they're trending? You basically go, starts with Indianapolis. You go back to Indy, that score is lopsided, but we all know that 54-19 didn't tell the story there. That was a close game in the second half. Houston. Little did we know Houston was going to take Kansas City to overtime the next week, but that was a dogfight. They lose in overtime to Jacksonville because of their own mistakes.
Dak did not have a bad game against Jacksonville.
Okay, well, Philadelphia with Gardner Minshew not playing particularly well, they squeaked that out to one-score game.
Yeah, but did you see what Dak did in that game? He was unbelievable. He was perfect.
Tennessee playing Josh Dobbs, who'd basically gotten to the team like 5 minutes before, and that was a game that was too close for comfort. They end up winning. And then yesterday, they lay an egg against the Commanders, who are playing for absolutely nothing. Sam Howell was the quarterback yesterday.
There was not a single point of that Titans game where they were anything less than a 98% chance of winning that game. That was an exhibition game. The Titans were barely even trying on that Thursday night.
Think about what you're saying. They were barely trying, and the Cowboys they won 27-13. They did not look so impressive. They couldn't even go for style points in that game.
Why would you? You can't get up for a random Thursday game that means nothing to you or the other team. Everyone knew the Eagles were going to get the number one seed. Honestly, I think it would be a big mistake to judge the Cowboys on that Washington game because there really was no incentive. This is not a team that can't go out there with something to win.
Okay,
there's something to play for. They're just not that good.
I'll tell you who really didn't have an incentive yesterday. The Washington Commanders. Who really didn't have an incentive yesterday? The Detroit Lions. Who really didn't have an incentive yesterday? The Denver Broncos.
Those teams were fired up.
Why weren't the Cowboys fired up?
Because they were playing for nothing. They clearly had bigger issues on their mind. They're obviously thinking about Tampa Bay next week and the Eagles the week after that, which they should be thinking about. That game meant, first of all, Washington has those games against Dallas where Washington just beats up the Cowboys. It's happened on and off at different times.
Washington's not a good team, Perloff, and they're playing a guy who hadn't taken a snap in a professional game at quarterback. I mean, you're supposed to be a great defense if you're the Dallas Cowboys. I get why people are concerned. I mean, you're supposed to be a great defense if you're the Dallas Cowboys. That wasn't a good showing yesterday, and it hasn't been for the last few weeks.
Well, I actually saw some numbers. Apparently, they can't play defense on natural grass.
No, that was Jason Garrett said that last night.
Yes.
There's numbers to back that up, too, I'm sure. Yeah, just go to the field and see what the score is.
Do you guys are you guys old enough to remember?
Has that ever been a storyline before? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I could see teams play so different on turf and grass. Now, do you guys remember, it's a long, long time ago when Micah Parsons was really good at football and was a factor. What happened there?
Well, I mean, he's still a good football player. It's just that I think other teams are either game planning for him or he's been easier to take out of games.
Okay, but you're doing revisionist history because 3 weeks ago you did not know that Dak Prescott was in trouble. I think that he could be hurt. He hurt his knee against Tennessee on Thursday night. They said it was hyperextended. He just did not look like himself yesterday. He looked totally indecisive and a little wobbly. So we'll see. That being said, I'm more terrified of the Cowboys because the NFC playoff field, look at the quarterbacks in the NFC playoff field. You're telling me that you would take Brock Purdy, an injured Jalen Hurts, go down the list, Tom Brady, the ghost of Tom Brady. It's a bunch of weird quarterbacks. I think to count out Dallas right now because of the way they played on Sunday would be a really bad mistake.
Okay, so I am not putting this all on Dak Prescott. What I'm putting this on is the Dallas Cowboys cannot win a game if you are going to have 27 carries for 64 yards on the ground. That's not how they play. And that's going to be the biggest issue. Now, can somehow the Tampa Bay Bucs defense, who used to be good at stopping the run and they kind of went away from it, and maybe they're back a little bit, but we're not really sure, are they going to be able to really ground the run game in the way that it was yesterday? I mean, the Commanders just took it away. And I know Pollard's been dealing with the hamstring, but you got nothing from Elliott. You got nothing from Pollard. You got Malik Davis out there with 5 carries. I mean, how about this? 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th leading rusher for Dallas yesterday was the punter. Was Angerer, because he had to run with the ball after he made a mistake. Like, if they can't get the ground game going, then the offense becomes way either too predictable, Dak gets too aggressive and starts throwing bad picks. That's where it's curtains for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a mystery. Do you know what Tampa Bay's team is going to show up for this game? It's not like the Tampa Bay looks so good against Atlanta. I know Tom only played part of the game.
Yeah.
But even when Tom was out there, they looked about the same level as Atlanta. I didn't see that as a dangerous team, although a lot of guys have come back healthy.
Well, the thing is you're talking about teams that didn't have anything to play for. I mean, the Bucs had nothing to play for. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. Dallas was still technically alive for the number 1 overall seed. Yes,
I mean, Blaine Gabbert got into the game. What do you mean they had nothing to play for?
Wait. By the way, can we just talk about that Dallas being alive? Do you think Dallas didn't know that the Eagles were going to beat Davis Webb and the Giants? I don't think Dallas was playing for anything.
So here's the one caveat. You had no idea what Jalen Hurts' shoulder was going to be in that game. If he got knocked out of the game, all of a sudden now you have a Gardner Minshew against the New York Giants. The Giants were actually trying. They didn't play anybody, and they still were, it was 19-0, I think was the biggest, and then they scored some late touchdowns.
It was, first of all, Gardner Minshew would have been favored by 12 points over the Giants. It was 19-0, and the Eagles just went comatose. They just stopped trying altogether. It was like, this game is over. It wasn't odd. I mean, it's hard to play with a lead against a team that's just sort of chugging along like that. So, no, I don't think that game was ever in danger, and I don't think Dallas felt like they were playing for anything. I think you're going to see a totally different Dallas
but then
team.
you can't have it both ways, because if you're saying that Dallas, they knew that they weren't going to get the number 1 overall seed, this didn't mean anything to them,
knew that.
Then why did Dak Prescott play?
Listen. You have to play him. No.
Why? Especially if you think he might be hurt.
There's a 5% chance.
Threw 37 passes yesterday.
If there's a 5% chance, you have to play him. But I don't think the Cowboys were up. And listen, the Cowboys are not the kind of team where if they're not 100% focused and motivated, is good enough to just play at a high level. I don't know what happened to Dak. I don't know why he threw that pick 6. One play after he almost threw the identical pick 6 right there. I don't know why he's throwing so many interceptions. I think he's hurt. He hurt his knee in week 17.
This would have been the perfect time to rest him.
Yeah. All right, listen, I don't know. Let me ask you one more quick question.
Yeah.
Cowboys lose to the Bucs.
Yeah. Let's talk about that on Black
McCarthy
Monday.
On a hot seat all of a sudden? Sean Payton back in play?
I think Sean Payton is back in play. I think they've been waiting for a way for Sean Payton to get back in play. And I think that you could not just say if they lose to Tampa, I think it would get rolled into just how the end of the season looked.
Big time.
Yeah.
They have some pressure in this game.
Do you think Sean Payton wants that job, though? Because he's the cream of the crop here. We're already hearing that he's going to have a interview in Denver.
Yeah, I know. Cream of the crop. If the Chargers don't come open, then I don't think there are any really, really great jobs. Arizona's not a great job.
Or the Rams.
That's a terrible job. Sean McVay doesn't want to stick around for a rebuild. Do you think Sean Payton wants to go there?
It's a little tough. Yeah, I think you owe Stafford like $100 million next year. But you got your Super Bowl out of it.
Yeah, it was well worth it. But I do think that's a flawed roster. I think Dallas is better than those 2 jobs.
Yeah, it's just you got to deal with Jerry. And I don't know if that's a plus for some people, and it's probably a minus for others. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Jay is in Dallas. Jay, what do you think about your team?
Hey, how y'all doing? Just real quick, I think something that's not talked about enough is how Dak Prescott, he can't beat any good teams with a good quarterback. Like I said, Tom Brady's undefeated against us. We can't beat Aaron Rodgers. He had trouble with Kyler Murray. I mean, the list goes on. And so I really don't have any hope going into the playoffs, but I just feel like that's something that needs to be talked more about.
Man, interesting. Jay, appreciate that. I mean, more on the defense, right, that they can't stop any good quarterbacks. But
yeah, I mean, listen, they can beat Eagles backups, that's for sure. That goes off against guys like Gardner Minshew.
I'm sure people like Jay are going to feel totally great now.
Yeah, Dak is on fire against the Eagles, but he hasn't really played a fully dialed-in Eagles team yet. That's true. I mean, everything you're saying negative about the people are calling me a Cowboys apologist in the YouTube chat. That's a label. By the way, you were the original. You're the one who was all high on the Cowboys.
I cashed out my bet. I cashed it out weeks ago. I made a whopping $14 on that bet, guys.
I think everything I was saying, after week one, the Cowboys lose to the Bucs 19-3, and I said, this team is done. Dak Prescott doesn't know these targets. Ezekiel Elliott is washed up. The offensive line is too tumultuous, and the defense isn't going to be good enough to carry them. All that is now true.
So your prediction from week one just came true in week 18.
And I hate to get into this. Your offensive line take. I saw a CBS pregame show take on the instability on the Cowboys line is killing them right now.
Which is ironic because Tyron Smith is back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Then the other guys, there were a bunch of guys on there I hadn't heard of. So I don't know if that's true necessarily, but that could be another problem for them.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's sneak in our buddy Mike's in California. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, guys. How's it going today?
Doing great. How you been?
Good. Liking the new YouTube channel.
Oh, appreciate you.
Hey, so everybody keeps talking about Sean Payton going here and Sean Payton going there, but everybody seems to keep forgetting that Sean Payton still is under contract with the Saints for another year, and it's not costing them anything to get the best deal they can possibly get. So short of somebody coming in with a first-round pick that doesn't need to use it for a quarterback, probably isn't going to get it. So I think Arizona and Denver are probably the only two teams, and maybe the Cowboys, that have any chance of getting him because they don't need a quarterback per se. They need other stuff instead. But I don't see anybody who's really going to be able to put up the good enough offer for to take him.
You know, Mike, it's a good point. Appreciate you making it. It just depends, though, if a team's going to draft a quarterback with Sean Payton or if he, lures a veteran, if he was maybe really thinking about
right, starting over. The problem is Arizona, for example, is number 3. You can't give up number 3 pick for Sean Payton. Denver has that Bradley Chubb pick, which is, 20, what pick? Wherever Miami is, in the 20s. So that is good, Sean Payton. You can't give up a top 5 pick for Sean Payton, right? I love Sean Payton, but there's no way you're doing that.
Well, why couldn't you just do a future one? Does it have to be the one that year?
Great question.
Here is Sean Payton. So a little interesting kind of thing they did yesterday, Perloff, with our friend Peter Schrager on Fox, where they basically broke the fourth wall. Schrager is there with Sean Payton, literally asking about his contract situation.
I have 2 years left on a contract with New Orleans, so 23 this upcoming year and 24. Any team that would want to inquire or speak with me can do so. They just need permission from the Saints. And then down the road, if that's something that materializes into anything else, then there would be compensation required, much like a player trade.
Could it be a future, like an NBA trade? A future first?
Oh, by the way, Denver has a 29th pick from San Francisco. I don't even know how. Somehow they got that it's part of the Trey Lance trade. Then Bradley Chubb went to Miami. Yeah, I think that's a real issue here. I think I love the rumor last week that both Sean Payton and Tom Brady were going to go to New Orleans, and you said it's because they don't have to give up the first rounder to get them. But there's not going to be. You don't have vacancies with amazing quarterback situations. It rarely happens, right? Because if you have an amazing quarterback, you're going to win enough games. I don't think I don't think Russell Wilson right now is an amazing situation. I don't think Kyler Murray is a good situation. I do think Dak Prescott with Sean Payton be pretty good.